Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome back to another tips video. Who knows what round it is because we've been gone for the best part of a month. I said we are back, and we disappeared again. Standard by us, but nonetheless, I'm joined by Nathan Vassallo, who's always here. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, good mate. Pretty busy day today, but yeah, no, just been relaxing for the rest of the day, which has been good. So can't complain, mate. So yeah. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Keen to get going. And the super sub, Caleb Matheson. How's it going?
Good, thanks, Levi. How you going?
Yeah, good, good. Caleb's
Um,
only here because everyone else pulled out, unfortunately.
Well,
Love that Caleb Matheson coming in clutch as a super sub.
Yeah, saving us as always. But nonetheless, what's it? Round at 19, 4 rounds to go, 5 rounds to go. Who knows? Footy's actually six, can't count. Footy finals are shaping up, and we've got a team that's on a bit of a forward watch playing the Adelaide Crows. It is the Bombers take on Adelaide at the Marvel Stadium for a Friday night matchup.
Yeah, well, look, obviously I'm a Dons fan, and I think I should start this. Since the last tips video, I think it was when Geelong took on Essendon. I think I tipped Essendon. We lost that, obviously. Bounced back with a really impressive win against Collingwood, and then went to shit again against the D's. So, weird sort of patch for Essendon. I don't know if we played West Coast during that period as well. No, I don't think we did. Anyways, yeah, look, Essendon were obviously very poor against Melbourne. I thought it was a very strategically well played game, if you could say, from the D's. They just were better at everything than Essendon. I thought, no ruck, no Petrarca, no Gorn. It was going to be easy for the Dons. Clearly wasn't. We were absolutely hopeless. Nearly got belted, only to kick a couple goals late in that last quarter. But playing Adelaide this week, who we have had a very good run against the last couple of years, haven't dropped a game to them since I think 2017, so that's a good stat to have. Um, Look, Adelaide's not a bad team. Obviously, they've got a very healthy percentage, even though they are in the bottom eight teams. But look, they're a team that can challenge on their day. Obviously, they're playing a lot of the kids, but fortunately, Rankin is suspended, which let's say is very bullshit. I think he should have gotten off. But look, it'll be a test for the Dons, I reckon. See what side of Essendon come out. I've heard rumours that Peter Wright might be going to the twos, which is good. We need to be a lot more hard, I reckon, on players and, just need to bring that edge back a little bit, I reckon. So I'm not entirely confident this week with the Dons, but I'm still going to tip them because I'm a Dons fan. So I'll say Essendon win this by 1 point.
Bit of a close one.
Very
Uh,
close one. Can't trust
I
Essendon.
reckon. I reckon Essendon. It's a bit of a danger game for them, I reckon, because with how tight the top eight is at the moment, I think if they lose this one and a few other results don't go their way, they could be out of the eight in the next couple of weeks. So I think they probably should win this game at home against Adelaide, who haven't been too bad the last couple of weeks. Just bet they killed at home, but I think because it's in Melbourne, I think the Bombers win by about 5 goals.
Look, it's a must win. Very, very must win. Essendon are struggling against top eight teams. They play a team outside the eight. If they lose this, I reckon they're done. If they win this, they'll play finals. It's pretty simple. Brad Scott is going to pull off a coaching masterclass this weekend, and the Essendon Bombers will get up by about 4 goals, is my take. Yeah, game they have to win. If they don't, I'd probably just sack it in.
It is a must win because this is a very tough run home. Outside of St Kilda, who we should probably beat, and Gold Coast away, we should beat Gold Coast because they're
Is
not
it
playing
at Gold Coast?
nuts. It's at Marvel. So
Ooh, lucky.
good stat that I'm confident with Essendon is we have not yet dropped the game at Marvel. So whenever we play at Marvel, I'm feeling a bit confident. Outside of Marvel, I'm a bit topsy-turvy, but look, we'll see how they perform on the weekend. Hopefully back to the Essendon edge that we all know and love.
The first game on this Saturday. Again, another team that's struggling versus a team that can not win away, and that is Giants Suns.
Yeah, look, I think GWS. aren't struggling as much as they were during the mid part of the season. I think they found a lot of form recently. And it is at home, so I think GWS will win this. I don't think Gold Coast. I think Gold Coast are going to go the entire season. They'll win every game away. Sorry, lose every game away and win every game at home. I think they'll be how they play out the season, and I think they'll miss finals because of it, obviously. But I'm liking the Giants last 2 weeks, and I think they'll be good. I think Gold Coast will test them, but I think it'll be a comfortable win for the Giants. I'll say 4 goals for this one.
Yeah, honestly, I reckon any away game for the Suns, I don't care who they're playing, I'm tipping against them because to lose to North is absolutely disgraceful. From the Suns, but honestly, I reckon they can push the Giants as the Giants aren't in the best of form, but I still think at home for the Giants they probably should win, and I'll go Giants by 40.
I'm a stats man. Stats tell a picture. Well, the Suns 0-8 away. Tuke Miller, Anderson, all that. They play 30% worse, 50% worse away. Giants, yeah, that Toby bloke got suspended. Poor bloke. That was the stiffest 3 weeks I've ever seen in my life. They bet Richmond. Anyone could do that. Like an under 18s team could do that at this rate. Um, but I said the Giants winning, holding in the eighth, and they'll probably get up about probably another 3 goal game, I reckon. Sorry, I'm looking at this next game. I apologize, but it's St Kilda West Coast at
All right, so let's
Marvel.
get this
Oh no.
out the way very quickly. I'm going to say St Kilda by about 5 goals. So that's my tip. I'm not even going to discuss anything. I don't like either team. Uh, let's move to the next one.
Um, yeah, honestly, there will be less than 20,000 at this game. I'm calling it. Probably the worst game of footy you'll ever see. Saints, disappointing year, and West Coast, we all know how bad they are. So, but it is at Marvel, so the Saints will get up, I reckon, but not convincingly. It'll be a 3 goal win, I reckon.
Yeah, probably one of the worst games to watch in these last 6 weeks of footy. You got a team that cannot move the ball forward, and you got a team that cannot play the sport, who's just sacked their coach. And with doing so, they dropped 6 players from the weekend. St Kilda will probably get up by, yeah, 4 or 5 goals, but it will not be a nice game. Expect 10,000. And yeah, good thing it's at Marvel. I like this game though. Hawks Pies. I love looking at this game.
I do like this. And I've seen a lot online saying it's a early elimination final, and I completely agree with that because whatever team loses, I think that's probably season's wraps for that team. It's an interesting one. Collingwood obviously have been in tremendously poor form since the bye. They've just not looked like Collingwood of 2023. They haven't looked like a threatening team at all. They've looked very poor. Darcy Moore looks very confused. He looks very lost. He's not playing like the Darcy Moore of last year, the really good captain that just was just a rock in defense and just incredible in the air. Look, I probably shouldn't be glazing him too much, but yeah, he's a great player, but he's just had a very shit year. And I feel bad for the guy because I actually enjoy Darcy Moore. I'm a guy that likes Darcy Moore. I think he's a good player. But enough about Darcy Moore. Talk about the Hawks. They have been super impressive. Started the season 0-6 and have clawed their way to, I think, 8-6 or 8-7 now. So it's been an impressive run from the Hawks. And I'm going to say this one continue. Hawthorn's run is going to continue. And I'm going to say they win this one by about 19 and they'll run Collingwood off their legs in a very close one, I reckon.
Yeah, it'll be a good game at the G. I think this will test the Hawks. I reckon a couple of weeks ago against Geelong in Geelong, they kind of got found out a little bit against a good side. So I think if they can match it with Collingwood, then they will be in real finals contention. But um, I'm going to tip the Hawks by 5. I reckon Collingwood obviously haven't been in the form they were last year throughout this year, but I think the Hawks will just be too good for them in the end. I think If their young guns play well, then they win.
Look, as much as I hate the Hawks, this is a good Hawks team to watch now. They're playing some good footy. They got some good young kids. They're winning games. They go into this game as the favourite against a Collingwood team that is struggling. I don't think they could none of their star players are starring. Moore looks slow. He's getting old. You can tell. Pendlebury's getting there. Sidebottom's getting there. They're still fielding Mason Cox. He's probably in the twos by now, but that bloke's just the fact he's still in an AFL contract is bizarre. As much as I love him,
So you don't agree with Sam McClure's take on him being a crucial part of Collingwood's success? I agree with Kane Corns, honestly. I don't think he's that good of a player. I think he's shit.
he is 6 foot whatever. He's only good for a ruck and still cannot win a ruck.
He's handy. He's handy for his 10 touches, but um, yeah, definitely. He's not one of the better ruckmans in the league, but he's handy.
He's up there with the most useful player alongside Billy Frampton's grand final game.
That's a
Fair
good call.
call.
All right, that. All right, that.
Um, but nonetheless, Hawks should win by about 20 points, I reckon. I'm
That's
feeling
fair.
it.
I'll just record something in my mind. I said a long time ago when Hawthorn, I think they were about to play Adelaide, and I said they would win that. I tipped them. And I said Hawthorn are a sneaky chance to play finals. And I remember on that day, the entire Wicked Train podcast absolutely flamed me for saying that Hawthorn were a chance to play finals. But now, fast forward to today, Hawthorn are a chance to play finals. So I think I deserve a little bit of credit for making that call early because I've been a Hawks believer since they won that game against the Lions at Marvel a long time back. It's probably been like 2 months now, hasn't it? Around that.
Probably. I'm not taking it back though. At the time, I was still gonna flame you.
Jeez, that's even if you could see the future, you're still gonna flame me.
Yep.
Yeah,
Um,
it's tough.
a game that is very, very inconsistent at this point in time because you played GMHBA, you got Geelong, you're thinking, oh no, it's gonna be a rough day. You play a side in Caleb Matheson's Bulldogs who go win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. Like, what are they doing? And they have the 7:30 primetime slot. So let's see what they can do. Caleb, give us your take.
Well, you never know which Bulldogs is going to show up, but I think we sort of like before that Brisbane Lions game a while back, we got into some form. We won a couple in a row, and we looked like we were sort of going all right. And then we dropped the game against the Lions, and then a couple games after that, we got to some form again, and then lost the game against Port Adelaide. So I think we're hanging in there. But I think last week against Carlton was a good win. I think our midfield played well. Jamara played really well with no Norton down there. So I think, if we can show that against the Cats how we played last week, I think we can challenge them. But hopefully Norton and Trelaw are back, which will help. But I think, obviously being a dog supporter, I'm going to tip them. But I do think we have a good chance here. I think the only thing that we will struggle with is Geelong's forward line, especially Jeremy Cameron. I don't know how Buku will go on him, considering Buku let Charlie Charlie Curnow have 10 scoring shots last weekend. Yes, he only kicked three, but he kicked 3 goals, 7. So hopefully Buku can stay with him. And if he does, I reckon we have a good chance of winning. So I'm going to go doggies by 8 points.
That's fair. I really rate that. I've gone with a close one as well. I think this will be a close game. I reckon the Dogs will show up for this one, but I do think Geelong have drastically improved since their little decline in the mid-season. They're just looking a lot better. I think they're moving the ball a lot better. Their youngsters are playing good footy again. Ollie Dempsey's having a really good season. So I think Tom Stewart's move to the ball has been really good as well. I've enjoyed that. And they've just made some good moves from a coaching point of view. And Yeah, it's going to be tough for the Dogs. I reckon they've got the kettle, sorry, not the kettle, the crew, I guess you could say, to win this game. But they're too inconsistent for me to trust right now. So I think Geelong at GMHB, it's a safe one. I'm gonna say the Cats by 7 points.
Lads, I'm looking at the AFL.com match preview. Game shapers, they've gone like for like who they reckon is going to dominate the game or who influence the game. Geelong, they've gone for Brian Myers. Fair enough. Can we guess who the Dogs player they've gone for is?
I'm gonna say,
Is he like a smoky? Like you wouldn't think
I'm
he'd
gonna
be in
say,
there? Or
I'm gonna say Cody Waitman.
I'm gonna say this could be a bit of a an off one, but Lockie Bramble,
They've gone
Edrich.
with Rory Lobb.
I was
They
just
reckon
speaking. I was just speaking about him.
they reckon Rory Lobb, the VFL player turned into a full back, is going to shape the game against Geelong.
Well, he could be playing on a young player in Shannon Neal, so I think he's got the experience. It'll just be, I don't know, if he plays how he did against North in his move to fullback, I think if he intercepts and he moves well, I think he can change the game. But we'll see. We don't know. I don't know.
The player I wanted to see there, who I love on the Bulldogs, by the way, is the small forward in Jerry West. I'm loving that bloke recently, but nonetheless, yeah, the Dogs are just same with Vast. Dogs are way too inconsistent for me to confidently back, and I'm feeling Geelong by about 15. I reckon I'll keep it close, but Geelong's third position, they finals and finals 40, they'll bring it home. I reckon we can skip this next game. It's Port Adelaide versus Richmond. Port by about 50.
I'm gonna say the Tigers by 100. Yeah, they're just a really great team. They're fantastic. They're 18th on the ladder. If you didn't know, they're just a fantastic football side. So, of course, I'm not tipping the Tigers. I'm obviously going to be tipping Port Adelaide at Port Adelaide. I reckon this will be over 50 points. So I'm gonna say 65 actually. I'm gonna say it's a pretty good day out for Port.
Yeah, 75-point win to Port.
Yep, pretty easy. Now this is the game. This should be the Sunday night game. This should not be so Saturday night. This should be the Saturday night game, not the Port Richmond game. This should be Brisbane, Sydney at the Gabba.
Both teams, probably the top two contenders for me. I'm gonna say, yeah, they're the top two contenders for me. This is a very tough one. This is an extremely tough one to tip.
I'll tell you now, AFL.com are only giving the winners by 4 points as well.
Brisbane have been absolutely incredible since they got back into form. They've been they're back to their old 2023 ways. However, they have looked a little bit. It's weird. They were dominant in the Gabba last year, but I'm finding them a better away team this year than a home team. But Sydney have just been the benchmark of the competition, really. But have had a interesting last 3 weeks. Obviously, dropped 2 games, but not terrible. They were only on the total margin of 3 points in those 2 games. So, um, I don't know. I don't. I feel like Brisbane's going to win this, but just think they have been a little bit off at home. I don't think they've been the home team that they were last year. I'm going to say Swans win this in a close one, and I'm going to go with what AFL.com is saying. I'm going to say by 4 points.
Um, yeah, Sydney. Now they dropped 2 games a couple of weeks ago, but I think against North on the weekend that could give them some confidence. Obviously, a big win there. Um, in Sydney, but I think that being at the Gabba, I think Brisbane should show up, and Sydney. If Sydney lose this, I could I reckon they're going to be frauds because they have lost two of the last three games, and obviously not really looking like losing before that. I think this is a big game for Sydney. So if Sydney can win, then obviously I think they're what are they 2 games clear on top of the ladder now. I think obviously they'll cement their spot on top, and I think they will make it to the granny. But if they lose it, I think they could drop to second by the end of the year. So I think I'm going to go with Sydney, but I think it could go either way. I'm going to go Sydney by a goal.
This is the grand final game without being a grand final. This is where it all sits. And yeah, look, Lions at the Gabba normally don't lose. Lions at the Gabba in 2024 find ways to lose. This is, as Caleb says, I reckon this is more of a Sydney need to win. I think they lost to what, St Kilda and Fremantle, if I'm not mistaken. That's two very, very disappointing losses if you're the Sydney Swans. You look at St Kilda and you go, how did we just lose them? Fremantle, you go, yeah, all right, fair enough. They got to bounce back. Warner, Goulden, Heaney, Papley, Grundy, they're good. They will win. Swans by 8.
Just want to say they just got Mills and Parker back.
Oh yeah, actually, never mind. And Parker had a day out last week as well.
Parker had a day out. And Mills is the captain. He's a great player. Sydney have got a lot of talent on that list, and they are flying. So that's the only reason. I think Charlie Cameron not being in the Lions team is a very big out for the Lions. So yeah,
I don't,
I think the Swans will be too good in the end. And they'll be able to hold on.
I don't follow Brisbane enough. But who's their next small forward?
I think Bailey.
Or Kai Loman as well. He's
Yeah, Kyle Lohman. Kyle Lohman's there, but you'd probably
Doesn't
take Bailey over Cole over Lohman right now. Sure.
doesn't it doesn't jump at me. Doesn't excite me seeing
And
that.
then they've got Lohman, Reville, and I think does Rayner play as a small forward at times?
Yeah, he plays a small half forward mainly.
Or half forward, and there's Bailey as well.
Mm,
You think of
yeah,
Sydney small forwards, Papley,
Heaney.
Heaney,
Warner when
Yeah,
he goes down.
Warner when he goes
yeah.
down.
It's a bit more exciting.
Taylor Adams playing as a high half forward at times as well. He's still a great player. He goes under the radar, I reckon. There's a lot of talent on that Swans list. If they don't win the premiership, that's a very, very unsuccessful season for me. So
They don't win the premiership. I reckon the entire roster just retires because yikes.
yeah,
Or Longmuir has to quit. I'm sorry.
yeah. If you can't get that team to a premiership, it should be he leaves or they have to revamp the list because you cannot not win a flag with the team that Sydney has right now.
The only thing is, I reckon they need maybe a better key forward because I don't think they have like good key forwards. Really, I think
Mm,
I think they've been pretty solid.
they're not.
McDonald.
I think
They're
like
solid.
McDonald's been. Well,
To be fair, if
yeah,
you're playing on that Sydney list and you're a key forward, like you're a big forward, your only job's to get it to ground.
yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
Let Heaney go to work, let Pappy go to work, let Warner go to work. It's just easy day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I think Amadi and
oh,
McDonald.
Marty's been good.
Yeah, I
yeah.
think they've been good enough. I think Amadi's probably had a better season than McDonald for me. I've enjoyed watching Amadi more than McDonald. Don't know, that might be a hot take, but
Well, especially when Marty had that 9 goal game and he was like,
yeah,
what, third on the Coleman. You're thinking, all right, here we go.
Joel Amadi's stepping up and
Oh.
yeah,
Anyway,
moving on.
Fremantle, Melbourne at Optus, 1:20 p.m. Australian Western Standard Time, so a bit later, but yeah.
I'm not going to say this is going to be a belting like last time. I think Melbourne have been a lot better in recent weeks. They've jumped back into the top eight. They are looking more like the Melbourne of years ago, and they're looking a little bit better. Obviously, no Petrarca and Gorn hurts, yes, obviously, but they were good against Essendon. Obviously, got the job done. The kids are really starting to step up. McVee, Windsor, they're playing some good footy. Um, I think Fremantle should win because it is at Optus, and I think they're in some really good. I think they're in a really good form patch at the moment. Obviously, I reckon you can accept a loss down in Tassie to the Hawks. I don't reckon that's a disgraceful loss. I reckon it's a tough ask playing the Hawks in Tassie. They're pretty good down there. So yeah, I'll say Fremantle bounce back with a win. I don't think it'll be a belting, but I'll say probably I think they're a 3 goal, 4 goal better team than the D's. So I'll say Fremantle by 20 points.
Yeah, I think Melbourne have been better the last couple of weeks, but I think for both teams it's sort of almost a must win considering how tight the ladder is. Fremantle in the eight at the moment, and Melbourne just in the eight as well. But I think Melbourne coming off a good win against Essendon, obviously as Vass said with no Gorn or Petrarca, so it will be tough against Freo, but I think Melbourne they'll show up and they'll put in a good fight, but I think at home Freo will probably just be too strong. And I think Freo will win this game by about 4 or 5 goals.
Hot take. I reckon the only thing that's saving Melbourne right now are the kids. I'm looking at their games. Yet no track, no Gorn. Oliver looks slow. Stephen May looks slow. Fooch doesn't get use the ball well. Like it's just oh mate. If you're a Melbourne supporter, you're probably fuming. Um
I agree with that. I agree with that. I think the kids have really stepped up while, obviously the big boys have stepped down in a sense. They've been a bit poor, and while the other ones are injured, Oliver should be dominating, but he's not. He's been poor. So
does
hmm.
Oliver get traded at the end of the year?
If I'm Melbourne and I'm looking for the future, I think it's a very wise idea to trade out Oliver. I reckon you can get a really good pick in this year's draft. I think there's a lot of talent in this year's draft. I reckon you can get something for Clayton Oliver, maybe even another player. If they're going to swap with, another team, maybe they can go player for player, pick for player, whatever they do. I think it's a smart idea in the sense that they can build the list. I think the kids at Melbourne are playing really well, and I reckon whoever, if they do get a trade done for a pick and they pick, I don't know, let's say who reckons? I don't know. Malachi Champion. Let's say Malachi Champion, who's playing in the 18s at the moment, and he's a small forward, probably around the top 15 range. I don't know. Let's just go with him. He can be the trade, and that's who they use for the pick. And he's got a lot of potential. So I'm going to say it's a smart idea for the D's to probably trade out Oliver. I reckon he's past his prime.
Who needs midfielders? Which club would do you reckon would want to take
North.
Oliver?
But if you're
North.
looking for a
Yeah.
big-bodied midfielder, like Oliver's a bull and he's a big
Oh
bull.
no. I know who.
The Cats maybe?
Yeah, Geelong.
Geelong.
Especially Dangerfield probably goes this year or next year. If they don't get
Yeah,
Smith, and especially with Smith coming back from ACL, I think you got to go Oliver.
yeah. If not Geelong, I reckon a team that seriously needs to have a crack, and no, I'm not saying this because I go for the team. I'm saying Essendon because they don't have a big-bodied midfielder that genuinely wins a lot of clearances. Like if Oliver can get back into his bull form when he was absolutely dominating in the guts, then I reckon that's a win for the Dons if they can get a trade done for him as that caliber of a player. But look, at this stage, I don't reckon he's going to be that kind of player again. So yeah, I'd say the only team really looking at him is probably Geelong.
Anyway, I say Fremantle win, but yeah, about 3 or 4 goals as well. At Fremantle, they're building a little bit of a fortress out there. And you got Brayshaw, Jackson, if Darcy plays, um, Walters if he's still playing. I don't even know if he's still playing or not, but it's not a bad list.
Josh Tracy has been good this year for
Tracy's
Fremantle.
been, yeah, he's been dominating. Luke
I'd
Ryan, Hayden
honestly,
Young.
this might be a hot take. I think Josh Tracy, for me right now, he's in my All Australian team.
I think you have to with the recent form Kerno's been in
Yeah,
and
Yeah, I
Mackay's been
think
in.
there's so many good key forwards that you probably can't squeeze him in, but he has been good.
I don't know. I personally think I'd have him in it. I think he's
We
been
should
really good this
we should pick our All Australian one day, I reckon. That's what we should do next.
year. Yeah, I don't mind that. We should all share the All Australian team. I wouldn't mind that.
Anyway. Last game of the round. Are we saying it's a walkover? Carlton North, are we saying it's just
Look,
I think it's a
I reckon
walkover.
it'll just be a boring game. I don't reckon it's going to be a walkover. I reckon it'll just be a comfortable Blues win. Probably like 33 points, I'll say. I reckon Carlton are good. I reckon North Melbourne's been better. Obviously, a poor game against the Swans, but in weeks before that, they were pretty competitive, pretty good. So I reckon at Marvel, North Melbourne will be up and about against a big team like Carlton. I'll bring it to them, but Blues will be too good. Now, be able to put North Melbourne away and just, yeah, they'll play a pretty boring game and just lock it down and get the win. I reckon be one of those games.
Yeah, I think Carlton, they were pretty poor against the Dogs. I was at the game and they just, especially Kerno. Kerno was taking shots from 60 and there was players open by 20, 30 meters. So I think Kerno needs to be a bit more unselfish. Um, and Mackay did play well. He had a few chances. So I think if the Blues forwards get going, they can win this game quite comfortably. But I think North, they've shown improvement, but I think they'll go with him for the whole game. But I think in the last quarter, the Blues will run away with it by about 40 points.
yeah, I just reckon the Blues depth will beat the North depth when it comes to midfield battle and just overall IQ of the game, I reckon. Yeah, I think if North have a great chance of getting this quite close, I do believe, especially like, if they play well, like David Juniak and whatnot, Sheasel, they got a chance to put it close. But yeah, I just think the depth, they'll run over him in the last sort of half, and yeah, I reckon lose about 25-ish.
Yeah. No, I'll say if North Melbourne can keep it under 30 points, I reckon that's a win for them.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
good for North Melbourne. So if they can do that, that's a big box to tick, and that obviously shows that they're heading in the right direction. So hopefully North Melbourne can put up a bit of a fight this week because I don't mind the Roos. I hate Carlton. So
Agreed.
Carlton lose, the world wins. So fingers crossed.
Anyways, ladies and gents, that is a wrap for us. Thank you all for joining us again for this round. What are 19 talk? Apologies for being so late as per us. Well, not late, but as in not much. Hopefully back on their weekly program. If not, we'll see ya whenever we see ya.